Caught in this hopeless situation, poor Io suffered agonies and looked despairingly towards the heavens as if seeking help. Zeus saw how desperately unhappy she was and took pity on her. So he called the four quick-thinking Hermes and ordered him to do whatever he could to set her free. Hermes swiftly reached the spot where Io stood guarded by Argus. Pretending to pay no attention to the heifer, he got into conversation with the giant and behaved in a friendly manner towards him. Then, as if to please Argus, he took out his flute and began to play. But the melody played was a lullaby so sweet and smooth that even the watchful Argus could not resist its spell, and fell into a sleep so deep that all his 100 eyes closed one by one. Thus Hermes managed to set Io free. If only the prince's sufferings had ended here! But when Hera learned that the wife heifer had been released, she sent a terrible horsefly in its pursuit, a fly as big as a bat with a venomous sting which caused unbearable pain. The shock of the first sting hurled Io into the air, and she took to her heels to escape it. But the horsefly pursued her relentlessly, stinging with all its poisonous power. Maddened by the pain, Io fled as fast as her legs would carry her, but the horsefly winged in upon her again and again and drove its poisonous dart into her flesh. The unhappy Io was pursued from coast to coast, believing that safety might lie among the waves. She jumped into the sea, and ever since, though we have called those waters the Ionian Sea. But even there, the horsefly pursued its prey, so Io came ashore once more and ran bellowing off in the direction of Thrace. From there she ran northwards, passed through the land of the Scythians, and finally reached the Caucasus, where Prometheus, the Titan, the great soothsayer, lay bound in his chain and nailed to a rock by order of Zeus. Flecked with foam and dripping blood from 100 open wounds, Io was a very different sight from the lovely princess of Argos she had once been. She stood before the chained Titan and with pleading eyes begged him, "Great Prometheus, you who know the fates of gods and men, forget your own tortures for a moment and tell me when and where my sufferings will end." "In Egypt," Prometheus replied, "where the great Nile pours into the sea. It will take you a long time to reach there. Your wanderings will seem endless, and you will have bitter sufferings to endure before you reach your goal. But there you will find salvation and become a woman again." When Prometheus had uttered this word, he gave a great cry of pain, for an eagle sent by Zeus had come, as it did each day, and thrust his beak into the entrails of the chained Titan. Poor Io fled like a maddened beast, pursued once more by the monster horsefly. She passed over the snowy Caucasus, and running wildly reached the land of the Amazons, which has been called Ionia ever since. Then she crossed a sea filled with gorgons who had writhing tangles of poisonous snakes in place of her. She managed to reach the farther shore and escape from the clutches of the gorgons. But then she found herself in a land whose eyes were thick with one-eyed vultures. They smelt the blood from her open wounds and swooped down upon her, tearing her pitilessly with their cruel beaks. In her effort to escape them, she became lost in a huge desert, where she could not find a single drop of water to cool her parched lips. And still the terrible horsefly pursued her, and still stabbed its venom into her flesh. Finally, after more wanderings, Eo reached the mountains of Ethiopia and found the source of the Nile. Taking courage at the sight, she began a last long, mad gallop northwards. This was the final stretch on the long road of her sufferings, but even so, the horsefly did not leave her for an instant. At least she reached Egypt, and there, on the banks of the Nile, she saw Zeus himself standing before her. Eo's sufferings had come to an end. Zeus immediately killed the horsefly and then laid his hand upon Eo's head. By that simple contact, Io became a beautiful princess once more. Zeus did not stay a moment longer. He returned to Olympus, but through the mere touch of his hand, Io gave birth to a son whom she called Epaphus, which means touch. This child became the first king of Egypt and the forefather of a long line of heroes. From this line sprang Heracles, the greatest hero of all Greece.